So we're going to be doing the video honor, and we're going to be exploring Video Island. So today's objectives. We're going to learn and demonstrate how to operate a video camera. Learn important aspects of filmmaking, so lighting, and the type, some basic types of shots. So how to pan, tilt, zoom. These are in the basic requirements. Then later on, we're going to form groups, and then to create a children's story time. Requirement 7 has you guys making a video, and I had the idea that you guys can use your videos during our church story time. So we'll be doing that, and we'll complete all the requirements for the honor, as well as have fun learning about video and filmmaking. So, oh yes, you might have gotten the old honor worksheet, because the ones that I found, they're updated to, we no longer use videotapes or VHS tapes. So the first requirement is, you might want to write this in on your paper. Describe 2 current video formats and how increased resolution affects storage requirements. Oops, sorry. What did I do? So today's video standards we have different types of video standards. So if you see across the top here, there's resolution, and then the storage requirements for 1 minute and 30 minutes. So we can start with the latest video is 8K, which the resolution is 7,680 by 4,320. So 8K video is double that of 4K. So for 1 minute of shooting 8K, it'll take up 6 gigabytes of data on your phone or your camera. And if you record for 30 minutes, it'll be 194 gigabytes. I'm sure you're all familiar with 4K, which is 4,096 by 2,160 pixels. And if you have 4K TVs, you'll notice that it's sharper. The higher in resolution you go, the sharper the video. Also, the file sizes are that much larger. So 2 gigabytes for 1 minute and 44 gigabytes for 30 minutes. And then you have your standard 2K, which is 1080. It's also known as, technically, it's supposed to be 2000 something, because you have full HD and then there's 2K. Full HD is better known as 1080p, which is 1920 by 1080 pixels. And a typical minute will run about 400 megabytes, and then half an hour recording is 12 gigabytes. So there's the cinema standards. So 4K is an actual cinema standard, whereas Ultra HD, which some TV makers will market as 4K, you can see the difference in resolution. So full 4K has a full 4,000 pixels on the length. So the bottom of your screen will have 4,000 pixels, and then the height is 2160. The Ultra HD it's just under 4,000, so it's 3840. So that way you can tell the difference if it's a real 4K television or screen versus a UHD. The old requirement was be familiar with the type of videos available. Know the difference between VHS-C and Video 8 tapes. We're not going to explore that. I have an old video camera. This used tapes. If you've ever seen one, let's see if I have one in here. So you pop it out. So this is your old videotape. Not sure if you can see. Focus. There. So this is what we used to record on back when I was your age. Anyway, moving on. Requirements 2 and 3. Identify the video file format that your video equipment can produce. So back in the day, it used to be videotapes. Now we have video files that are digital. And so your digital file comes in two components. There's the container and the codec. So a video container bundles and stores all the elements of the video into one package. Elements include the video and audio streams, subtitles, video metadata, the codec, and more. So types of containers include, MP4, you're familiar with that. If you have an iPhone, it will record in .movie or MOV. There's the AVI, FLV, and these are older formats, Flash video, and then Windows Media Video, WMV. The codec it's basically like the engine of a video. So it's used to compress and then decompress a video file. So there's different types of codecs. Most cameras. Oh, if you have any questions or you need me to pause, please speak up. If you want to write this down, or you can screenshot it if you can. Or if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt as well. So there's different types of codecs. H.264 is the most standard one today. Your most modern video cameras will record in H.264. There's MPEG-4, MPEG-2. So MPEG-4 is used for online streaming. So if you're watching something from Netflix, it's likely an MPEG-4 video. MPEG-2 is an older codec. It was used for DVDs and Blu-rays. DivX is even older. So it's open source, high quality, but it also produces large file sizes. So that's why H.264 is popular today, because it's good at compression, but it also can stream at a pretty high quality. And then the newest codec is the H.265, which is a high efficiency compression video codec. The downside of H.265, it's hard to edit with. You need a lot of processing power. The more compressed your video file is, it'll be slower to edit and work with if you're doing some video editing. Okay, requirement 3, demonstrate how to start, pause, stop a video recording on camera. I'm sure you all know how to record videos on your iPhones. So you know how to start, you use your camera app, there's a pause button, and there's a stop button. It's pretty straightforward. Back on our video cameras back in the day, you had a little recording button here. The red button is, you use it to record, start, and stop. And yeah, it's the same method. It's just different hardware. Next up. Does everyone have that?
Sorry, I'm not finished yet.
Okay. Let's go back. Are you guys on the codecs? You need the containers as well. I'll give you guys a minute. You could just write down the codecs. You don't need to, well, if you want to write the parentheses, you can. All right. Let's move on. Requirement 4. Describe what the following terms mean and demonstrate them. So we're going to use some camera movements. So panning. It's like when you move the camera left to right or right to left. So what I'm doing with my head, you're looking, that's what you're doing with your camera. You're panning. So you just want to, like that. This is a pan. Okay, when you're panning a scene, like that. Ideally, it'd be on a tripod, so it'll be even, because if you're panning and it's shaky, that's not a smooth shot. Tilting, it's like you're moving your head up and down. That's tilting. And then zooming. So your camera might have a zoom lens, or you could zoom with your body. You could zoom like this. That's a zoom shot. Zoom in, zoom out. Pretty straightforward, right? And then requirement 5, using equipment on hand, demonstrate how to set up a tripod and mount a camera. Use the built-in level bubble if equipped.
Glenn, can you stop sharing so it can be a bigger screen for us?
Oh, for this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Stop presenting. Okay.
And guys, if you want, you can pin Uncle Glenn so it will be a bigger screen for you.
Oh, yes. There's like a pin button if you just hover over my picture. So I guess you couldn't see the panning. Okay, I'll just re-demonstrate panning. So panning is like this, left to right. Tilting is going up and down, you know, like your head, you tilt your head up and down. Zooming, go in or out. Or you can zoom with the lens. So if you have a lens that zooms, there's usually buttons on your camera that lets you zoom in and out. All right, so using equipment on hand, demonstrate how to, this is a tripod. And usually most good tripods have levels. So these bubble levels, I'm not sure if you can see there. So you want, when you set up a tripod, you extend the legs, make sure they're all wide. And then you use the level to make sure there's bubbles, you know, those little bubble levels. You just want to make sure they're all in the middle. And then that's how you know you have a perfectly horizontal and aligned shot. And that's important if you're taking videos of horizons, or you don't want to take a video that's crooked, right? So that is an important part of recording video. I'm pretty sure you guys can figure that out if you have tripods. All right, we're going to move on from that requirement. Requirement 6.
You have to sorry.
Oh, sorry. I have to start presenting. All right, requirement 6. Verify that any video or audio used in your clip complies with applicable copyright law. So you want to use original content. For the most part, there is something called fair use, which I forgot to add. You can use like small clips, portions of the clips that are relevant to the video. So you could use, you know, like people walking on the street if you want to have some B-roll, or to cut to a scene, or, you know, that for a short period of time, then that's fair use and you won't get hit with copyright strikes. But for the most part, you want to use original content. And YouTube is particularly notorious. Like if you upload a video with like a portion of some music, they'll copyright strike you. So that's why there's the rise of these royalty-free music sites that use music that you can use in your videos and you won't get hit with any copyright infringement claims. So if you upload a video and you use a song that's very popular, chances are it will get hit with a copyright strike, and that can limit how, like, they might even take you down, or it won't be shown to the general audience. So it's important to use original content. All right. Requirement 7. Create a short, simple clip and show it in a public place like church or social media. So video ideas include object lesson, a music video clip, Bible story, dramatized puppets, nature, a modern life dilemma, an advertisement for a church program or publication. So for this requirement, you can do it in groups of 2 or 3 or in classes. It depends on how Auntie K wants you guys to group up. And hopefully we can show your videos during one of the online services during our children's story time. So be prepared to do your best because it will be shown to everyone. We're hoping that you guys will do like a children's story, like an object lesson or a Bible story, something like that. It'll be up to you in your group.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll pause for this one.
Okay.
I'm thinking to get the leader from the guide class because they're the oldest,
Okay.
and then I'll give them, more children from lower classes,
Okay.
and they could that will be their group. And at least how many in guide class again? I think 9, right? Or 8. 8 right now. So hopefully there will be like 8 videos to be that will be you use for children's story time.
Okay.
Hopefully.
That sounds good.
And I guess for you guys, if you're thinking of a topic, send it to Auntie K, so at least they're not the same topic. So it's not the same story.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be fun. And so yeah, those are that's requirement 7. Requirement 8. Discuss how streaming video technology contributes to the spreading of the gospel of Jesus, as found in Mark 6:15. So he said to them, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature." So with the rise of online video like YouTube, Netflix, we have an opportunity to reach a lot of people with our videos. So video ministry, like online church services, especially in light of the pandemic, where all our services and all our ministries are online. So we can reach a wider audience, and we don't have to be physically there to reach them. So, for example, streaming. So video technology ministry contributes to the spreading of the gospel of Jesus by performing the following. Streaming allows those who are shut in, those who cannot attend church physically, can see and hear the message and feel like they're still a part of the church. Allows for the use of personal evangelism for small group studies. So we're all part of a small, Bible study online group. And then allows us to come back to a personal relationship with God. Looking at the following discussion will strengthen our commitment to Jesus. This action will help us see our part in the Great Commission and what avenues can be utilized to accomplish his work. Okay, so streaming allows us, or video ministry allows us to reach a wider audience, essentially. So bonus. This is not part of the requirements. It's just for tips. Okay. If there's one thing you take away from this video course, or this video honor, is lighting. Okay. Lighting is the most important part of photography or video. And hopefully this will make you guys better photographers and videographers, because in essence, taking a picture or capturing a video is you're capturing light that's bouncing off someone's face and it hitting your camera sensor. Where is this? If you have great lighting, you can use any camera. So you can use your phone or even an older camera, and it'll still look good. The opposite of that is if your lighting is poor, the best cameras won't save you. If I take away this light, it'll look like, my video doesn't look as good whereas lighting does help. So let's look at painters, because that's one way where we can draw inspiration for how to light. So this one is this guy. This is a self-portrait of Rembrandt. You might have heard of him. His name is Rembrandt van Rijn. He's a famous Dutch painter back in the Renaissance days, and he's most known for the style of lighting. You might have heard of Rembrandt lighting. It's lighting from the side, like a window off in the side here, and it casts a shadow on the opposite side of the face, and then you can tell it's Rembrandt lighting because there's a triangle on his opposite cheek. You see this triangle there? That's like the light from the window hits the nose, and it creates this light and the shadow. So this is a style of lighting that he uses throughout his paintings. This is another painting of his. You can see the triangle on his eye and his cheek, and then the shadow on his nose and the rest of his face. So that is Rembrandt lighting. Another Rembrandt painting. Again, you can see the light on his cheek. So you can do this also with your light. So you set your light on the side, or take a picture by the window. I kind of have that on my screen, or my photo right now, if you can see. But yeah, here's another painter that uses the side lighting. His name is Vermeer, Johannes Vermeer, and he's also one of those Dutch painters. And this is his most famous painting. It's called The Girl with Earrings. And yeah, you can see how he lights her from the side. So there's a window here, and she's just sitting like that. So, you know, when you're taking pictures or videos, be cognizant of your lighting. That's, if you don't have like fancy lights, you can use a window or a lamp. Okay, some lighting tips. So you want your light to be as soft as possible, and to achieve the soft light, the key is to get big, so a big light source as close as possible, and then use some diffusion. So if you look at, if you go to a photo studio, they'll use big soft boxes versus hard light, which is far. It's small, the light is small, and it's direct. There's no diffusion. There's nothing to make it softer. So think of a sunny day versus an overcast day. When you're outside in the sun is in the sky. It may be big, but relatively speaking, it's a small light. It's like the size of your, finger. If you compare it to anything else, yeah, it's a small light. It's direct and it's harsh, and it's far away from you. Versus like an overcast day where it's very cloudy. Overcast days are the best days to take photos because outdoors, because the light is very soft. We're going to just look at a comparison. So on the left, it is like a sunny, direct, harsh photo. And then on the right is a photo taken during a cloudy day, overcast. You can see how soft it is versus you can see the shadows on her face are harsh. And this girl doesn't have much shadows. So you want to keep that in mind when you're taking your photos. So like for our children's stories, we're using one light setup, and then we have a light in a lamp in the background. In video, they call it practical lights. It kind of sets the scene for. It kind of gives you like a real life light source. So instead, lamps are practical lights that kind of gives the audience a feeling that, yeah, that's the light source that's lighting the whole scene, even though it's not. So you can see on her shadow, the shadow of her face, this lamp is actually creating like a purple tint on her face. So that's one way that you can spice up your lighting. And the light is directly, like, it's just right beside her. It's out of the screen, and we're using a big soft light, and it gives her this kind of nice look. And this is a setup. So there on the left, there's the soft box, and then we have the lamp that's kind of, and I put some color on my computer monitors to give her some fill on her right side, and then the camera and microphone are in front of her. And that's basically what the scene looks like. Again, so, and then later videos, we included this as a practical light, the G. So it kind of looks like the G is lighting my face when it's not. It just kind of like spices up the scene. It also adds texture, and it gives the room it just makes the room more interesting versus like this other, right? It's just a blank wall. So you want to film in something that's interesting, it's well lit. And I have that Rembrandt lighting. See the triangle on my face and the shadow on the rest of the face. And that's what the scene looks like. So you have the big soft box on the left. It's pretty close to us. It's not far away. We put as close as we can without it being in the screen, basically. Okay, there's a video I want to show that will give you some more tips on lighting. It's very interesting. I find it interesting. So it's just a way to make your lighting cinematic. Let me know if you can hear it.
Placement
here.
shots for a
How's
moody cinematic look.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
So we've got a one light setup here,
Okay.
with our light above and at around a 45-degree angle to the left of our subject. The quality of our light is okay, but it doesn't seem that flattering, and it somewhat widens the face, as well as making it appear quite flat. Even if we move the light into a tighter angle, we do achieve some more depth, but the lighting still seems to give somewhat of a rough look on our subject, even though we're using soft light. This is what we refer to as broad lighting. In a broad lighting setup, the light is hitting our subject on the side of the face closest to the camera. Typically, this isn't a technique employed regularly by cinematographers, unless there are no other ways for the light in the scene to be motivated. So, let's move our light around to the opposite side. You can now see that our overall look is a bit more pleasing. Let's take the angle of the light around a bit tighter again. Now this is looking much more interesting. Our light is creating a much nicer shape on our subject's face. This is what we refer to as short lighting, where our light is primarily lighting the area of our subject's face furthest away from the camera and graduating to shadow on the closer side. It creates mood and interest, bringing more shape and contrast to the face and dimension to the image. So let's say we move our light around to a pretty extreme angle. Actually, let's push it a bit further so that it's slightly behind our subject. Reverse key lighting involves lighting from the side or slightly behind your subject and shooting into the shadow side of the face with the camera. Otherwise known as upstage lighting, this is a very popular technique that has been used in many films for a good number of years. It's a great way to really sell the mood of a shot, and it creates an excellent sense of depth. It's a versatile look and works in many situations and setups. We could go ahead and add some fill light here. Maybe a little more. Maybe even a little more. With fill light, you can tweak the tone and feeling of the shot whilst retaining the dimension of the lighting. Let's have a look at using this setup in practice. We're going to shoot our subject in a relatively small room, and we've made sure to black out the whole room to allow us to have full control over our image. First of all, we'll turn on a wall light we already have as a practical and to add interest to our back wall. This will also provide some separation between our subject and background. Next, we'll turn on our key light in a reverse key or upstage setup. Okay, great. This is looking nice, but there's a few things we can go and tweak. First of all, our light is spilling all across this back wall, and we have a reflection in this picture frame. So let's add some negative fill to block the light from hitting the back wall, and also to remove the reflection from the frame. Nice. We've still got some light being reflected off of the wall to the right of the frame and onto our subject, so we'll put up some more negative fill to stop this. Now that we've stopped the spill from the wall, we can add in our own fill light so that we have more control over it. Perfect. Looking back at the shot, I feel like we could have added some more light to the background to tie our key light into the image. I'd like to add these in practically, but for the purposes of this demonstration, let's pop them in using post-production. That's That's looking much better. The little hints of light convey that our key light is coming from a similarly placed practical, just out of frame. So you can see how reverse key, or upstage lighting, can really add shape and dimensionality to the face, creating contrast and interest, and giving your image a moody cinematic feel.
So that was one way to light your scene. And I hope you guys learned something from that little video. Can you see this now? So if you can see from this image, this is the most standard way to light. So you have your camera, your subject, and your light source on the left side. The way he showed it was the reverse key light. It's very dramatic. And if you don't understand like fill and negative fill, so like sometimes you use a piece of like a large white cardboard or a black cardboard, and those can be negative fills. And they'll bounce the light to the face or wherever you want it to go. So the short video requirement, like I previously mentioned, it will be showing it during the children's story time. And suggestions, you know, use a object lesson, a Bible story, or a modern life dilemma. Totally up to you guys. And how we generally develop our videos is we have a concept in mind, and then we write a script or an outline. We research ideas online, or you can like Google children's stories or object lessons for ideas. And then we plan our shots. So if we'll have a storyboard, you know, okay, we'll have like me in front of the camera, and then or doing different scenes. Like you can plan that out, so you have an outline or a storyboard. And then obviously you have to film it. So use whatever camera you have available to you, and lighting. Sometimes we use lamps for lighting, or you can go outside, use the sun. And then if you have a big piece of white cardboard, that could be a nice way to get some fill lighting, or as a reflector. There's lots of videos online, so just go on YouTube, just Google how to like light your video. There's all sorts of tutorials on that. And then you have to edit your videos. And software, there's some free software. Like I personally use DaVinci Resolve. It's free to download, and that has a lot of features. Or if you're on a Mac, there's iMovie. And I'll be available to help and provide any guidance if you have questions or need help. We also have a camera that you guys can use if you need it. And DK will assign you dates and possible topics. So thank you for listening, and I hope you guys learned something from this honor. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask now. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.